Thank you, everyone, and I request everybody to continue to stay. We have a keynote that will be given by Mr. Ram Reddy. He is the MosChip CEO, and he will be sharing much more insights about the same defense electronics industry. Sir, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. I thank Anil, Chairman of IESA, for giving us an opportunity to share some thoughts with you for a few minutes on the topic doubling Indian strategic electronics industry in the next 5 years. Just to give some background on me, I was the CEO, founder of MosChip. I am not anymore. I've retired. I am just a director on the company. I was a chairman, not anymore. So just that you all understand where I come from. I'm going to make some statements. I'm going to share some thoughts with you today, just my experience in this industry for the last 50 years. About 25 years in the United States working for semiconductor company. My background is design engineering. I'm an engineer out and out. That's my education, that's my work. 25 years working for companies and entrepreneurs in US. Moved back to India, started MosChip Semiconductors about 19 years ago, which is a public company. I'll discuss towards the end what we do on a slide. So my experience is pretty much semiconductors for the last 45, 50 years. So I would like to share some thoughts on all the stuff we discuss all along about Make in India, how we do, and fabrication, fabless, some thoughts. So just my thoughts, so that's why I just gave my background. Now, we talked about, it says blueprint for doubling strategic electronic industry in India in 5 years, right? If you look at this, look at those numbers here. I won't go in order. Right here, it says we're going to be doing we are $100 billion ESDM sector, and going to be $228 billion in 2020. That's from IESA and Ernst & Young study. Wow. We don't need 5 years, guys. We just need 2 years. That's really good. How are we going to do this? Even if you double it in 4 years, we still beat the 5 years. So no problems. We don't have to worry about it. Yes? No, we have some issues here. We'll go through. I'll just share some thoughts on that. Again, electronics hardware market here, 65 billions, going to global market size of $2 trillion. Then our market, this is our market share, India electronics market, expected to go 400 billion in 2020. That's again, I've given some references in the brackets. That is not our numbers we picked from MosChip. These are done by market analysts and people like Ernst & Young and IBF and other people, Deity, their numbers here. So you can check these numbers if you want. And our production, electronics production, expects to touch 104 billion. That's again 2 more years from now. So it's a semiconductor design market. That's going to grow to $52, $53 billion in 2 years. Look at the defense electronics industry. It's going at a very good rate of 14%, Deity report. That's very nice. But the problem is our electronic industry contribution as a GDP is under 2%. If you really compare Taiwan, 15%, South Korea is 12%, it's actually 15% in Taiwan and 12% in China and Korea. And even in Brazil, it's pretty double digits there. And you can look at the value addition in electronics, it's less than 10%. Anil talked about value addition. We need to bring it up to manufacture here in-house with our own indigenous technology. But if you look at China, it's 70%, 50% in Taiwan. South Korea is 30, Vietnam 20. It goes on and on. We are still very low, less than 10%. So we have a long way to go in that area. So what are the current initiatives? I'll go into the next slide and talk about this more. I just put that up there. Make in India, everybody talks about it for the last 2-3 years since Chief Honorable Minister Modi took over. And it's good. It's gaining momentum, but we have a lot of issues. Digital India. and national policy on electronics. There are a few thoughts I'll go through in the next one. Okay, so Make in India. There is a lot of indigenous designs happening today, quite a bit of it, and a lot of startup companies. There is a lot of designs in that area, including MosChip. There is all that stuff is in Make in India, but are you producing it in India? Are you manufacturing it in India? If you break it down into different divisions of electronics manufacturing, say system designs, board level, FPGA levels. A lot more of it is done here, manufactured here. We have 24, 30 layer PCB designs in Bangalore and Hyderabad happening there, except some few very expensive components which we not dependent in India, but we do import them. So those are the ones we have to look at and say, what is that content which is going to be imported or self-reliant, make in India. So we design that. Now, it's not just the board designs and making boards for missiles and other system levels, but it's also semiconductors. Where are we going to manufacture these things today? None of these designs, what we buy from, 90 nanometers, 65, 40, 28, 22, all the way to 7 nanometer FinFETs, nothing is done in India, yes. We're still talking for a long time. Almost 20 years ago, I was in one of the committees to discuss fabrications in India. I don't know where it is really, I'm not part of that. But we're still talking about having a fabrication here. It's good, we should. I'm afraid we've missed out that opportunity, but I hope people prove me wrong. Down the road, I'll be very happy to be proven wrong. I think we need to follow more in the semiconductor side. Again, my thrust is on semiconductor fabrication. Do a lot of fabless designs. There's nothing wrong. There is a lot of fabless opportunities here. We are a fabless company. There are many startup companies today in fabless. And they're also, but dependent upon overseas fabs. If you want to start a fab here, we're talking about 0.18 micron or 90 nanometers, which is a little bit older. But there are definitely some applications for analog design, some mixed signals in lower technologies that we can start and we can fabricate in the next maybe 2-3 years if you start today. So we can do self-reliant in that fab. But if you really want to go to very, very advanced billion transistor kind of SoCs using ARM processors and other processors, you definitely, today, we need to go to TSMCs and UMCs and global foundries and IBM and a lot of other companies outside. So when you're working on the defense electronics, we are talking about space electronics, defense electronics. I talked to a lot of DRDO directors and people in my business. They're all pretty much worried about China. China factor is scary. What happens if you go to TSM? What happens if you go to UMC, HMC, all this SMIC? Tomorrow, if there is a problem, there's a war, all these things are stopped. Or you go to in USA and somebody in USA pulls a plug and say, we're not going to ship to India. So there is a danger. How do you, we have to worry about it. I worry about it, but I don't know what to do about it. Because are you going to start a fab today in 40 nanometers, 28, 22, and continue? Look at Global Foundry at 7 nanometers. I mean nothing against Global. If anybody is here from Global, 7 nanometer, they stopped, they pulled out and said, sorry guys, it's too expensive, I can't afford it. We're going to pull out and change and do other things. So there's a trend there. It starts getting expensive as the geometries go down. We are not even at 65, 80, 90 nanometers. What are we going to get there? If you start today and get in 3 years from today, production, 40 nanometers, by then everybody is in sub-nanometers here. Where is the infrastructure? Are we really, really kidding ourselves to be a fab, to build a fab? I'm just posing questions. I really don't have an answer. I don't think we can do it. I think we missed the boat. We do depend upon some other strategies to do. For example, something has come up recently. TSMC talks about virtual fab, all right? Virtual fab is where you control it. You give your database. You do your database, completely designed here, totally, and then you have access to the fab in TSMC or wherever in the world. You manage it day to day. You know how it is moving, what process you're using by tapping into the libraries. So there is a next step we could do, but they could still shut you down, okay? But there is at least a next step. So I think if you really look at self-reliant, make in India, the fabrication is going to be a pretty sore point. So let's concentrate on, I think, our company in the next few years, fabless model, which we've been doing it for the last 20 years, and tap all the technologies available to us, but hold all your IPs, develop all our IPs. That's what we do at MosChip. Control them, control your software, control your firmware, put more functions in it so you are protected to a certain level. Okay, so that's where I think we should grow. And if you look at the system design, defense production, there is also offset designs. Now, offset designs need about 30–40%. They can, overseas companies we import from, say, for example, Israel, some missiles and some planes. Then they do need a 30–40% offset partner in India. So there are a lot of smaller companies who are vying for offset, including us, but there are a lot of restrictions today to get that business. You need to be certain profitable business in 3 years. You need to be 30 crores plus, and there are a lot of restrictions on small companies. So we disqualify. We get disqualified outright for all the small companies. So there are these extremely talented scientists and entrepreneurs who start these companies can't get that business. Only people who really get offset business today that I know of, you have Tech Mahindra, you got people, Reliance Technologies, and you have L&T, Wipros, big guys. Small guys are dead. I mean, we just can't get in. It's very difficult to do that, to get in there. So government has to do something. If you look at, that's where it comes from, policies. This is policies for startups, eligibility criteria. I mean, to go get a contract, to go bid into your defense project, we have to put in BGs, 10%, out of which the amount is paid 10% today and 90% at the end of the project. Your BG is stuck for a whole year. If you do a 20 crore project, 2 crores is stuck for a whole year from the time you delivered a product. I mean, how do small companies survive? And this is a lot of money. You're not rich, you raise your funds. This is not like a VCs are all over the place. There are hundreds of small companies that I know in Bangalore and Hyderabad and Pune, other places, just struggling to get into defense orders. So it's easy to say we have make in India, you make everything here, we'll give it. Yeah, we make it, but we're not getting it. So it's just, there need to be some policy change. IESA is going to play a very important role. I do work with them. I was in the EC all of last year. We talked about it several times. I know the people well. So I think IESA is going to play an important role, and I hope so, to address this at the minister level to make it easy for the SMEs and small companies to take part in the defense business, not just the large companies. We need to take care of all these hundreds of companies, bring them up to 100 crore, 200 crore businesses. Then you're talking 5 years is easy to do, not difficult. 2 years, I think it's pretty aggressive, optimistic. 5 years is possible, with the exception of a fabrication, which I'm not sure we can do it, but fabless model is still good. But if you go into system designs, we can make boards for technologies. I think that we can take part in it and do quite a bit of make in India. Really, we can manufacture. We have enough people, enough talent, enough engineers to tackle that one. And then talent pool. That's another one. All the institutes, starting with IITs, triple IITs, and everybody has 5 years, engineers come out and they go in business. You still need to go for training schools for 6 months, 1 year, to get trained in a certain area, to be company, to be placed in a job. So now, maybe somebody like IASA can work with institutes, all of the people, to have the last 6 months of a curriculum to go in, or a 4-year course in the last 6 months, to train them, to bring that training, which they're going to pay and learn, and then to waste their time, to be the part of the degree itself. So, and we work with the industries, work with companies. You got a lot of MNCs here. Get them all jobs, get them all training there. So they all have a 6-month program. So at the time they get their degree come out, you are ready to go to industry. So there is a talent pool will also increase. There are some thoughts in that area. I'm sure some institutes that I don't know of are already doing it, but generally that's the idea, we should do that. Oops. Okay, so now I just have a few minutes, just 10 minutes to talk about what's MosChip, what is our contribution in talking about all this. MosChip is a public listed company, product company that I started 20 years ago in India, and with the idea that we make our own product, designed in India, completely marketed, but export market only, because there was no really volume business here. So only way in order to survive your investments in a fabulous model, it has to be export model. So we exported almost to the point we have about 8 million chips in the PCI, USB, Ethernet, PCIe, you name it, all the interconnected connectivity products. Almost 8 million products are shipped as of today to major companies, Toshiba's, Sony's, Hitachi's, IBM, Airbus. One of our products, SoC products, which has gone into an Airbus 350, which is flying in today, new designs, our product is in it. Our product is also if you go to Japan and open up one of 7-Eleven's POS terminal, there is a MosChip chip inside with a MosChip logo on it. So these are all our own indigenously designed, manufactured by a fabulous model and shipped overseas. Now today we have learned to last few years to find out more opportunities in the defense electronics. We started working with local business, DRDOs in Hyderabad. We've delivered 2 SoC chips. One is a 250 million transistor ARM-based 40 nanometer chip. Jawans wear it on their hand. It's worked first time, silicon, it's going into production, and they're making some boards to test out the field. That's one chip. There was a baseband chip done for another DRDO lab. That's on the semiconductor side. MosChip also is into board designs, FPGA that we discussed, talked about it. There is very complex designs for Akash missiles and NGRM missiles. We made a board, and that's also approved. It will go into the production. But key components there are very expensive, say, FPGAs. My friends from Xilinx, I think they're here, sitting somewhere here, or Intel or Microlinear. These guys are all the FPGA manufacturers. Majority of the expense in that board is FPGA. Goes from anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000. Okay, so now that's another area. We want to be make in India. You want to start an FPGA company, guys. I mean, I don't mean to rattle these people here, but I think we should do an FPGA, and it's an easy one. All the majority of the engineers that I know around the world who design FPGAs for these companies are Indians, right? And bring them here, Magnum factory. You don't need millions of dollars to establish a plant. That is a self-sustaining. That immediately brings your cost down. Your own bill of materials is made in India. Okay, still a fab is a problem, but at least do all that stuff we can do. So such things, I think, need to be done, and that's where I think, well, by the way, we also got an award for Best Design Company for the DRDO lab in 2016, Deftronics, right here in Bangalore, 2 years ago. So we delivered that to them. A little bit late, but it was a very, very good achievement for my engineering talent, for the people. Almost 70, 80 engineers worked on it for 3 years. So that was a big, good design. And we also have an IoT solutions company in Pune we've acquired. And we're doing smart cities, smart labs, smart lighting, all the wireless stuff. So that's also made here, designed here in India, manufactured in India. So that is truly make in India products that we are taking care of it for a lot of states. Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, other governments. So now, I think we need to, as part of a strategy for us, this is strategy for all the companies to do, to get to this 5-year thing. You do need to invest on your own IPs. So we went and acquired mixed signal IPs to do very high speed, 16 gig, 28 gig, 56 gig SerDes, very mixed signals, and mixed signal layout. They are all very high technology. We need to do it here, right here, so we can control these things, and we have enough technology to do this. Again, barring fabrication, but all the stuff is right here. So we are spending a lot of money, a lot of time on growing into the, developing our own IPs in the design and development and system engineering. And I talked about IoT. So that is the MosChip, and that's our contribution to making it. Now, instead of exporting like we did a few years ago to all these companies I talked about, to Airbus and other companies, now we are concentrating, along with it, we're also concentrating quite a bit on local opportunities, such as the defense electronics. We're doing quite a bit of business with the DRDOs in Hyderabad. We have opportunities. DRDO scientists, DRDO directors, believe me, these guys do excellent, very advanced designs. Some of the designs they do is more than what Pentagon does today. So it's really their thoughts, that stuff, and they really are good people to work with. We work with them, I work with them, we give them solutions. We are their partners. We don't get the contracts because you go through these 2 years of bidding, and finally you go for L1s and L2s. That's a different ball game. But there's a lot of design goes on there. So I think we really have a long way to go, but we have come a long way in the last 15 years, 20 years. My experience in US for 25 years and 20 years in India now, so I've seen that happening, frustrations, but I think we have done a good progress, I think very good to do. And hitting the numbers that we have shown in the next 5 years, I have no problems. I think it will be done. They're only showing 2 years. I think 5 years is very good. We will meet those numbers. There's some challenges, and like I shared, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. If there's any quick question or something, I can answer and before I leave this podium. Thank you very much. Yes. One minute.
My name is Ramesh. I am from ITI Limited. Sir, you talked about the fab, setting up of the fab.
Right.
In the Electronics Policy 2012, there was a mention about the fab, setting up of the fab. An expression of interest was also taken out by DITI and then the now MITI. But nothing much happened on that.
Correct.
Now we have in the draft DNDCP, the Digital Communication Policy, one line mentioned about the fab. So, hearing from you, what I see is setting up a fab in India is something which is written off. I mean, it is not possible. So, in that case, we are talking about Make in India, the kind of value additions we need to make to qualify as a Make in India or a domestic product. Will we be really achieving this in the absence of a fab? So what I see from your talk is you're saying about the virtual fab, all that, but a real fab, a physical fab to exist in India is something very unrealistic or the business case really does not support. So I want you to comment on this.
Yeah, that's correct. I made that statement. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope, really, deep in my heart, I hope I'm wrong. The scientists here, the people who are doing these fabs overseas, bring them back again, entice them, do the 40 nanometer, 28 nanometer fabs immediately. Hey, who knows? I mean, we've done some wonders. I want them to do it because that is the ultimate solution for securing your designs, protecting your designs. That is your goal. You don't do that, forget it. You're not going to protect your design. Maybe to a point, yes, with the codes and with the software bombs in the chips and all that stuff, you can, but they still can copy it and stop production to you just when you need it. So I really don't have an answer for it, guys. I really don't have. I mean, virtual fab is about the closest I can think of because you can control quite a bit to as you go forward. But still, that country where the virtual fab exists can shut you down and say, sorry, no India tomorrow. So what do? Virtual, your line is cut. So I don't have an answer for that. Yes, but we can get to this Make in India. Make in India is not just all manufacturing. There is quite a bit of design up front, and there is a lot of architecture, design, thought, algorithms, very, very forward-thinking algorithms to tackle artificial intelligence, and people are talking about it. They're all done here. So you hold those patents, you hold those designs, you don't lose them. So there's a value building. That value is what we're talking about here. Manufacturing is a sore point. I'm the wrong person to talk about because I think we have missed the point, but like I said again, I hope you guys prove me wrong. I'll be the happiest person. I don't have an answer. I hope. I didn't answer your question, but that's my thought. Okay?
Is it working? Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm glad I'm going second. I come from Global Foundries. Just want to mention a few sentences first, and then I'll ask my question.
Okay.
So, one good thing, if for those who are maybe not aware, is probably we are the only company right now who has a support team in India for a foundry, right? So, for all the foundries in the world, probably Global Foundries is the only one who has a presence in India.
Right.
And we are growing as well. My question to you is, there is, again, following up on that question also, I am a lot passionate about having a fab in India. Is there a possibility of building an ecosystem? See, a foundry in itself might not be alone interested in investing. But if defense, fabless companies, design houses, and foundries come together and build an ecosystem, would that be, do you see a possibility? And from a perspective of a fabless company design engineer, how much would a company like MosChip be interested in being a part of that? Would that help fabless companies in India?
I think it's possible. That's a good step towards what I would like to see India build. A partnership in India, so you can control it. You can be a part of the foundry. MosChip will be very interested in the designs to qualify the foundries, to do the fabrication, to, like you have ATMP fabs today. You got assembly, test, mark, and ship, right? Those are the things which are also, we have, TESOL is excellent in that. They're number one in the country here to do. So you already have a portion of that, which is the fabrication at the back end. Only thing we're missing is a foundry. So we can do a partnership. Is that what you're talking about? Yes.
In two steps. One is a partnership, but you're probably meaning still manufacturing outside in the fabs that Global already has in the rest of the world. But I guess my emphasis was more on building a fab in India.
Okay. You do need to bring in building a fab in India, again, you need to have a huge ecosystem. It's not just building a fab. You got all kinds of people. You got to bring in your phosphorus, your arsenic. You need to know how to deal with the water, where to dump it. You have the unconditional power. They all can be addressed in various states. Uttarakhand, Tripura, all the people talked about. Yeah, you can build. You have uninterrupted power, water, everything. But engineers, you need to bring them here, and you need to support them, and you need to start. India is still talking about it. I do get feedback. They've not signed, somebody has come and built it. We do need to move. If you want to do it, you need to move fast, yesterday, to start building it, start signing contracts. Don't forget this bureaucracy here. Go for it, bring the people here, build to your good technology. Maybe not the latest 7 nanometers to 14 nanometers technology. This is very, very expensive to bring today. Start with the 40 nanometers, something which is a lot of products are designed in today. It's like your $100, 100 rupee bill. It's really very, very popular, right? So start right away. Don't sit on it for years. I'm looking at it for 20 years. Nothing has come. But I think its time has come to start tomorrow or yesterday and start building. Then I will be proven wrong 10 years from today. Hey, we are buzzing with fabs here. It's not that impossible. You just government needs to get involved in it. They have to, like Taiwan. How did Hsinchu come up overnight? How did China come up so fast? These guys, It's how did Japan do automobile industry from Ford, from Detroit? These guys, government comes in and say, okay, guys, here I'm going to pay all your salaries. Here your system. Here is your ecosystem. Just go build it. Bring all the boys home. You have to do it. Just stop talking and do it. I know you have enough talent, enough people here. Don't we have scientists here? Oh, we've got a billion people. There are a lot of scientists. They can come home and do it. They'll be more than happy to do it. I think it may be done, but I'm afraid the bureaucracy, the governments, the delaying of all this stuff it's changed a little bit in the years. I can see in some areas, but We have a long way to go. That's why I'm afraid we might not be able to do it, but I hope, again, it's possible, yes. It's definitely possible. It's not impossible. It's not rocket science. People signing and giving funds to the people, bring the home, build up areas in cities, all the people are offering. Go open up fabs, no big deal.
Okay, so if you have time for one last question.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I have an out-of-the-box idea, right? I was in SCL before, and I have lived in Singapore, so I fully subscribe to your view that maybe India has missed the deep submicron manufacturing bus, right? I agree on that. But one suggestion to industries like you and all the IESA empowered people who can work with the government, why don't we create a smart investment plan? Like we have deep design expertise, like in India sovereign fund, say maybe a $2 billion, and just go invest. I don't think TSMC will take that investment, but a smart investment in a country in partnership where we can co-own a fab. I agree with you that land, water, electricity, and and also the number of employment that fab creates is negligible.
Right.
So like Gulf has done that, so they own a portion of a multinational fabs. So deep investments in design in India, but $1 billion or $2 billion India sovereign fund, and we co-own. So that way we get a strategic relationship as well, and leverage in case things go wrong. So to the powers that be, I can write a blog about it if need be, but it is an idea has come. Deep investment in design, a smart investment in a fab, abroad maybe. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think getting investment is a big problem in India. We are partners. People have the money to do it. Again, it needs to be authorized, finally approved by the government, and that needs to move quickly. If somebody wants to put all that money and bring in their own money, forget the government for a minute, I will do all my $1 billion and build a fab with a partnership. I think it's doable. It's just that we need to move quickly. It just needs to think when it comes to approvals and where to do and how to do it. I don't think it's difficult. I agree with you. Yes. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you.